trying to do too much and try to do it all, of course things will suffer. Your health, your mental health, your physical health, your relationships and connections with your partner, your children, your friends, your workmates. Of course, something has to give. And you constantly put work or good work, because that's my thing. It's like, no, it can't just be work, but I have to do very good work because my pressure that I put on myself is intense.
The Imperfects invites you into a very safe place. A place where we share without judgment and drink heaps of vulnerability. Grab yourself a cup. This is the Vulnerabilitea House. Zoë Foster Blake,
Guys,
how are you?
I'm really well.
I want to congratulate you on I want to start by congratulating you on Scaredy Bath.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's a cracker.
What a book.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Have you read Scaredy Bath?
I have not got
you've
to
got-
it yet.
you've got to read.
I haven't.
He got to it yet. It's on his bedside table.
Yeah, I've got
Stack.
such a stack of kids'
Such
books.
a stack.
Yeah.
I mean, all the books are great, but if I had to choose one to read every night for the rest of my life, which is what I do at the moment with Elsie's, that's Elsie's preference, is
Yeah.
Scaredy Bath.
Oh,
What a book.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love it so much. I think it's my favourite as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I think it was the book where I figured out how to be a children's book writer, because my first few books I was writing because I thought the words were funny, but it's so much about the visual. Obviously, it's a picture book. But I'm really proud of that one.
I think
love it.
experts disagree. They think you discovered it from your first book,
Oh, right.
where you won the
Oh, yeah, I did.
you won like best kids book ever award.
I did. Yeah. First, that was the one.
Best kids' book ever.
Yeah.
Sounds like you worked it out pretty quick.
No one likes a fart.
No
That
one
was
likes a fart.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is just like as if that's not going to be a great book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Farts don't lose.
Yeah.
They never miss.
No.
It's one of the great universal things in
It
life.
is.
Farts are always funny.
Always funny. And it does very well in America.
Really?
Yeah, because people just think it's hilarious because they're a bit more prudish over
Yeah.
there with the fart and bum humour.
Yeah. Did I hear that the Bluey episode with farting got taken off Disney?
Probably.
I think. Yeah, they didn't
Did
want
it
it on.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Gee, they wouldn't like Mr. McGee then. You know, Mr. McGee,
What's that?
you can see his penis.
What?
Yeah, it's
Hugh.
pictures-
Carlenberg.
It's a
Mr. McGee and the apple tree or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
or the pear tree.
well, the biting
Oh.
flea. No, the biting flea, and it's biting him so much. It's a kid's book. It's biting him so much.
It's a book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a book. Yeah, it's not a man.
It's a TV show.
Kids TV show.
Yeah.
He's not a man that I know.
First kids' TV show with full frontal nudity. Wow.
He's got a dog, and the flea jumps off and onto Mr. McGee, and he can't get rid of this flea, so he takes his clothes off
Oh.
and jumps in the river, and you can see his penis. It's quite.
Wow.
Kids love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe next book I get a bit of pain in there.
Why not?
I can't see any problem with that.
Kids love. Well, actually, I won't finish that sentence.
No. Stop.
This is not the episode.
Anyway,
I'm hoping there's a good experience for you today because I feel like I've never put my best foot forward with you. I like when I think about with you. Like, I think the first time I came to your house, I have a memory of me showing you, Hamish, and the kids a race that I ran in. Like
it was very impressive.
You're all huddled around my phone. I was showing everyone my race.
You brought show and tell.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The kids were outside playing. Hugh's like, get in here now. Sit down. Watch this.
And going through our message history, like I sent you a photo of me as an athlete when I was at school. Like I don't know why I'm doing this. I hope I hope you enjoy today.
I can't wait, Hugh. And my memory of that visit was you were playing in the pool with the kids for ages, which is big points.
I think Rudy won our races. I think it was 28-1.
Yeah, she doesn't cheat ever.
You didn't let her win, though, did you?
Yeah, maybe 28 times.
That's not how she learns, mate.
No.
That's not how she learns.
I
As a
love-
non-parent,
I
I
love
can
Ryan's
teach her a lot.
parenting advice. My favourite.
So the founder of GoTo
Yep.
Skincare
Yep.
and Bro2 then Grow2. So
Yeah.
Bro2 men's skincare, Grow2. It's great, like so clever how it's wonderful how that's worked out. Grow2 for kids, Bro2 for men. And so
Was the cleverness only referring to the change in name or the entire business?
Just the name.
I'm most impressed by the name.
The naming
That was
conventions
the-
and up to that.
Naming's
The
hard.
business size is great too, but and the success. But
Yeah. No, the whole thing's impressive. What if someone was referred to you as one thing as a writer or a founder of an enormously successful and wonderful business, what would you
Isn't it what you put on your card when you come
Passport.
into Australia.
Yeah. So what do you?
Out of laziness, I write author,
Mm.
which is true and accurate. But founder of skincare companies.
Not enough boxes for that.
I guess you could just write. I don't know what you'd write. I actually don't know what you'd write for that one.
Businesswoman.
Business lady.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still think of myself as a writer because even in Go-To, I do heaps of writing, and that's my thrill and passion in the company. And then I write books.
You know what you could do? You could just write prolific.
Yes.
That's what you could do. You are prolific.
Yeah.
It's
You
true.
have done so much.
Very
Belle
humble,
did the
very
research.
humble. Humble, prolific lady.
Yeah. You've done so much
Oh, thanks.
at such an incredibly high standard, and I think it's amazing. There's no question off that. There's no. That's just.
It is amazing. One thing a memory I have of Go-To is
Tell them what a fan you are, Rye.
well, I am a huge genuinely. I use Go-To products every morning and every night. Have done for ever since I messaged you. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do. I love when a man texts for skincare advice.
Yes.
It's my favourite.
I messaged Zoe and I was like, I need something good, like a good quality thing. And because Jam it gets like allergies and she's like allergic to certain like chemicals and ingredients, like so many things have like shit in them that she gets reactions to. And so I messaged Zoe and I was like, hey, do you know of any like products, natural, unironically, because in my mind I thought Go-To was for women. I was like, it's a women's thing. So I was like, do you know of any men's skincare? And so I was like, Go-To.
You have skin,
Oh, you
you
didn't-
can use it.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh yeah. And I've used it ever since.
What an amazing insight into the male brain and why marketing is important. Because we have Go-To for this exact reason. Guys like Rye who want the skincare but won't necessarily think to buy peach products, which is fine. So
Like peach coloured.
yeah, peach coloured. So Go-To started as a joke because John Dalell, a friend of ours, said my mechanic uses the face wash, but he's too embarrassed to buy it.
Yeah.
So we just did the packaging so that men would feel safe.
I started getting the Bro-To when it came out and then I've reverted back to Go-To. I prefer it. Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
You're still wearing a man nightie as well, which is a women's nightie.
No, I did do that for a little bit, but actually now, weirdly, Jam now wears it.
The same one?
Yeah, Jam's wearing my old women's nightie.
A woman nightie.
Well, I didn't know it was a woman's nightie when I got it. I got it from Muji, and it's like a kind of like really cool, like
That's the
what is
most
it?
Ryan
Really cool.
thing I could think of.
The visual of you getting your skincare done.
Yep. When I finish a hard day at mixed netball, I come home and put on my women's nightie.
Then you make your girl platter and you sit down for your shows.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yes. Okay. Zoe,
yes.
this is the Vulnerability House.
is.
As you know, there are cards in front of you. On all these cards, there are different questions. And Hugh, why do we do this? Why is vulnerability important?
Brené Brown, the world-leading researcher in vulnerability, says that when we embrace vulnerability, it leads to authentic connection. And authentic connection is certainly in my experience, like whenever I'm feeling authentically connected, that's when I feel very happy. So Brené Brown says vulnerability is when you take an emotional risk when the outcome is uncertain. And when you do that, so often it leads to authentic connection, which is what the world needs so much more of right now.
Yeah.
Well, Zoe,
Yeah.
whenever you're ready,
Yep.
pick those.
Here I am.
Pick the three cards.
Face up or down?
Yeah,
still?
face up.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. And then if you read out the ones you've picked.
Okay. Number one is, what was your biggest fear as a young person? Number two is, what is something that took you too long to learn? And number three is, when was the time you felt truly alone?
Ooh.
You guys. I think for today's chat, we will do the when was the time you felt truly alone.
Geez, that feels like the hardest one. I love that you chose that one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, not to freak you out, but that I love that one. I'm
goody.
so glad you did that one.
I don't think anyone's ever chosen that one.
Oh,
No?
God.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to imagine, like, because my perception of your life, even though I know you, my perception of your life is that you would, and not in a bad way, in a positive way, you would never be alone. Because
Yeah.
family and work, you'd be between the two things. Of course, you're writing, I guess, but anyway, I'll stop.
I think also even alone, the difference between alone and lonely is really critical. So it almost, it's not really interchangeable, but I think what I'm actually probably more going to talk about is lonely, because you can be alone is more like a state. You're
Mm.
physically alone, but loneliness, you can be in a crowd of people and still feel lonely. I think the very first and instinctive feeling is doing a business deal that I did with GoTo, which really spanned over 3 years, which wasn't meant to. But it began in 2021 when we decided to, myself and my founding shareholders decided to sell down half of the business, or just under rather. And I won't bore you with the business details, but it became
Bore.
it just became a very prolonged, and I think all deals are, but way out of my depth. Like, and this is the book. This is exactly the book, because I felt like
This is the new book. This is a fictionalized
things
version
will come
of this.
down soon.
Yeah.
So from going from a creative founder, a writer really, a person who'd written books and worked in journalism, and loved the creativity of writing and particularly copy, just copy, and then starting a brand because copy was a great way to connect and create community. Honestly, that's what GoTo is. The skincare is almost secondary because it's very good skincare, but really I love the feeling of we're all in this together and we can make beauty fun, and you'll also get some great results.
Copy is words, isn't it?
Copy, yeah, just words, just connection.
Yep.
And back when we launched in 2014, the style of our tone was very innovative and quite irreverent and funny, and
It was like incredibly you, I would say.
yeah, well,
Like,
it was me.
It was you, I know.
Genuinely and literally. But that tone, it's kind of called best friend marketing now. It's everywhere. And when everything's everywhere, then it becomes boring and samey. So we have to keep evolving, and I like that challenge. But I was a creative who started a business, and I think a lot of founders are. I think that is inherent. You have to have a creative mind to start a business and have the propensity to take a risk, like a fairly measured risk, but just going, I think I have the skill and the knowledge and the experience to do a thing, and I'm willing to back myself. And financially, but also like my life will now change to go into this direction. But I felt ready, even though I was married but not pregnant when we first started coming up with the idea. But I was ready. I'd written a beauty book. I'd been a beauty editor for a long time, and I just felt like it was the time. Basically, I saw there was a big gap in the market for, cutting the middleman out, which was what I was, the beauty editor, the sort of translator between brands and science and chemists and derms to the consumer, because it was very confusing.
Yeah.
And I had for years acted as the vessel between those two groups, but I thought, what if the brand did that instead? And it was so easy to understand when you picked it up.
And that had not been done.
Not really. There
That
was
is
definitely
amazing.
a white space there. Now it's not uncommon. But I knew enough about ingredients and branding and marketing and the skincare science to feel confident to do that. And I knew what the consumer was, which was very confused and intimidated by skincare. So I married those two, and that was GoTo.
That's such a cool thing to be able to kind of articulate that, because it's almost like, you hear stories about people who are perfectly placed to do the exact thing they did.
Yeah.
And it's like your skill set. It's like I often think about Slumdog Millionaire. Like,
Do you
All the
often?
questions.
like often.
Daily.
Well, I do often. It's kind of like my Roman Empire. I just kind of often think about like, it's the thing that like when everything lines up and, at that particular moment, you happen to have all the right skills for this exact challenge.
But no shit, because that is absolutely right. And timing and luck, even though it's a dirty word, and opportunity, and all of that has to intersect, I think, for it to kick off and work. And that magic has to be there. So I hit just when people were starting to become safe and comfortable buying online. This is 2014.
Yeah.
Instagram was really starting to kick off. I'd built a big digitally savvy audience through my blog, which I'd been doing since 2006. I think it all came at the right time, and it just hit for that reason. But if you tried to launch that brand now, I don't know if it would do as well.
This is definitely not the point of what you just said, but I was struck by a line when you said luck's a dirty word, or luck is...
Luck, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I think women in particular minimize a lot by saying, I was lucky,
Okay.
I'm just lucky, I guess. And I think it's hard for women, particularly Australian women, to stand proud and go, I've done a hard thing and I'm really proud of it. It's just not built into our sensibility. And I think we often try to get around that and diffuse it and deflect and go, the self-deprecation, it's built into us as Aussies, and just go, oh, no, I just got lucky because, it was timing. And I find myself doing it. but I've worked very hard, but I did certainly timing is something to do with it. So luck is sometimes just a cover-all for people to go,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
And to not be able to stand proud of what you've worked at.
Yeah, to the point where I remember doing press in America when we launched there, and our PR agency over there were like, stop doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, stop talking yourself down. Stop saying it's no big deal. Don't you? Because I would sit there with editors and I'd be like, oh, you can try it. Oh, don't worry. It's all right. If you've probably already got a moisturizer, but if you do want to try it, it's nice. But, give it away if you don't want it. And they were like, what are you fucking doing? I was like, so they're like, get in there. It's the best you've ever tried. You have to use it. It's amazing. And it
just goes against everything. It's so weird. I remember reading it like Josh Thomas when he made his show Please Like Me, and it was launching in the States, and he was doing the exact same thing. He was like, they were like, tell us about the show. And he was like, well, it's, it's just like a little sort of suburban tale about, this and that. And he was really underplaying it. And then the reporter was like, hang on, so is the show good or not? Like, they just didn't understand the tone. It's like, why do you not like this show that you've made?
Oh, it's a weird tick.
So I'm guessing as a founder of an organisation, this wasn't the first time you felt alone before? Because I do want to hear more about what being alone feels like for you in that moment. But I'm guessing it wasn't a new feeling?
No, the alone as a founder, there's so many elements to that. And just to really deep dive into that a little bit, because I think as the head of any organisation, you are by nature isolated, and you start to lose peers that you can talk to about certain things because of that ingrained hierarchy of being the owner and the founder and whatever it is, even though I love my exec team and I'm very close to them. But ultimately, when it comes to something like selling the company, I was the only one who could make that decision, even though I had a raft of advisors and brilliant lawyers and a team and other really...
And I was just a phone call away.
Yeah, Rye was there if I needed him. In his nightie, just waiting for the call. you wear what you like.
Face mask on.
It's my boy.
Yeah.
But I did feel alone under the weight of the responsibility of having a team and having a brand and a customer and a baby legacy growing of people who really loved GoTo and used it every day. And I was like, you can't fuck this up, and you can fuck this up. Like, you're the only one. You can make a really shit decision here. So really do your diligence and do your work. And so everything that I'd done my entire life up until then was gut driven, instinct. I know what to do, but I felt like my gut just took a holiday. And I was so out at sea. And I remember like texting other founders I knew and calling them and just going, how did you know what to do? Where's the fucking playbook? Because there isn't one. It's such a unique position to be in. It's bonkers. And there's this money being thrown around, and it was just a lot and so out of my wheelhouse. So I really struggled with that. And I had a very incredible support network, because when you say, I can't imagine you ever being alone, it wasn't. I had my husband and my friends and my team, and really the most support you could have. I really was very supported. But ultimately at the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, at night, just me with my anxious thoughts going, what are you going to do? Don't be the one that fucks it.
Because no one knows every detail like you do.
Of course they don't.
And everyone's got different reasons for why they think you should or shouldn't do something.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, where it off because I've done a lot of thinking about this particular thing, and for me, it's like very tied. Like the pressure I put on myself is very tied to. I can't think of a better word, but essentially like success. Why do you put so much pressure on yourself to do so well?
Success is such a nebulous term, and it means different things at different stages of your life, I think. Probably in my earlier career, I remember hounding my agent when I had a book out going, I really believe this is cinematic and it should be a TV show or a movie. And of course, nothing ever happened. And of course, I do think how the universe works. The minute I let go of that, someone called and wanted to do The Wrong Girl, and that did become a TV series. And I do believe in letting go and just believing it will happen when it should. But success has changed a lot for me now. Now success means how I spend my time. I think success has allowed me to spend time with my family or writing peacefully, being able to travel, having an incredible team who are very autonomous, and I want to empower them, and they're brilliant and they're doing such a good job with GoTo, so that my job can be back to what it used to be, which is ideas, creative direction, copy, rather than all of the shareholder stuff that was taking up so much of my life.
I was talking to a guy the other day who we both know, and his mother is very, very sick and is maybe, probably only got a few months to live. And he's in a position where he's able to go and visit her in the hospital every day. And I was talking to him about it, and I was like, God, that really, you're really lucky that you're able to do that. Like, not everyone would be able to just like not work and go and do that. And he said, yeah, it's really shifted my idea of what wealth is.
It's time, really.
That's time that he's able. He feels so like rich in the sense that he is able to go and like spend time with his mum every day. It's a very privileged thing he's able to do, but he's like, he feels so lucky that he's able to do it.
100%. That's everything.
Has there ever been a time where the busyness at work, like busyness, whether it go to a writing or whatever billion things you do, you were doing, has it ever, and I'm projecting here, has it ever negatively impacted your relationships?
Yeah. Oh my God. Often I get asked when I do a talk for a room full of young, very passionate, enthusiastic young women who want to do everything in the world, and they're like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, at great cost. And I do not recommend it. I do not recommend it. It's a huge detriment. I think I was burnout adjacent earlier this year, and I was brought to my attention from my husband. But I had just had a massive 3 years. It was just 3 years of it just did not stop. And so I took myself off to a health farm for like 4 days, and it was like a reset. And I hadn't done that for 8 years, and it made all the difference. And I really believe in looking after yourself, and I just hadn't been. It was just a bit of an at any cost, this has to get finished mentality. But I think trying to do too much and try to do it all, of course things will suffer. Your health, your mental health, your physical health, your relationships and connections with your partner, your children, your friends, your workmates. Of course, something has to give. And you constantly put work or good work, because that's my thing. It's like, no, it can't just be work, but I have to do very good work, because my pressure that I put on myself is intense. Because why bother doing it? Like, if that's going to take me away from my family and my life, then make it worth it. And once I had children, that really became hyper-focused for me. Like, if your children are out there playing, or, you've hired a nanny so you can work, fucking work. Like, don't waste that.
Make it count.
Yeah, make it count. I've got that on my wall, big poster.
Really?
Yeah. So that's, it has a cost. It's a big cost.
When your husband told you were burnt out, were you, or burnt out adjacent, as you said, which is a wonderful term. Were you aware of that? Did you say, I know I am? Or was
yeah. It was a shit show. It was just like, a deal finished in December. Then our children seemed to have about 5 years of Christmas holidays, and then I was, final edit of the book, and then go to business as usual, really big. And then we had our go-to 10-year celebrations, and it was just a lot. And I said, I don't have time, which is a classic burnt out person thing to say. I don't have time to go and look after myself. It's ridiculous. We made the time, because you have to make the time, and it was just, of course. It really helped.
How does it when you're in the thick of it? Because I carry a lot of guilt when I'm like in the thick of like feeling like I'm letting, let's call it what it is, when I'm letting Jam down, and I'm like really busy. I know I can like step outside of myself and see myself like making the wrong decisions repeatedly in terms of like, I know right now I should not. It's like 9 p.m. It's like, I won't get any good work done between now and 11 p.m. I should stop working and spend some quality time with Jam.
Yes.
But I don't.
No.
Often, because I go, but if I don't use these 2 hours, then the work will be worse off.
Really?
Because the deadline's in a couple of days.
Oh.
So it's like this oncoming deadline. It's like, I need to just throw everything at it. I need to put everything into this. And then the cost is relationship, and do that over a long time, and it's horrific on the relationship.
Yes, you have to build in time together, otherwise it doesn't happen. It won't just naturally organic present itself, because otherwise it's just sloppy end of the day TV time, which I still love and I still think it's a nice connection, but it's not connection. Is it?
It's not proper. Yeah.
It depends what you're watching. But
Mm.
yeah, so I think your partner is going to suffer unless you keep your shit together and aware of that.
Mm.
And I think that's probably what blindsides a lot of people because they're so focused, particularly startup founders. They're so focused, so driven. I'm putting everything into this at any cost, and then everything suffers around them, and they just don't see it.
And Hames is like, as we all know, is so good at prioritizing
Yes.
time with people. And so I feel so guilty so much of the time because he's always the one organizing stuff. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I need to organize something. Like, I'm letting the team down here.
He talks about it a lot.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. He's so good at it. So I feel like that would be like so exposing, you know.
But he has built that into his life and he has, I always say to him, I'm 10 years behind because he had his big career time when he was doing TV, radio, travel, everything all at once. 5-10 years ago.
True.
And he's sown the seeds and now he has created and crafted a life where he's not that guy anymore. And he works very mindfully on the projects he takes on, whereas I'm like badly time managed, scatterbrained shit for 8 hours a day. Something will come out of it, but I wish I could be more purposeful with that working time because I believe you could be more time efficient. But he's created that and he stuck to it. It's admirable.
It is.
I imagine changing that approach though must be hard for you because it's worked.
Oh, bang. This is it. And so this is my, you're not my therapist, but we do talk a lot about, where does that drive come from? What propels me to constantly take on or not even new work because everyone thinks I'm so busy, but actually all I do is go to and write books.
Yeah.
I don't do.
That's a fair bit.
Yeah. But and be a parent and a wife. But I think
that's 4 things I don't do.
Terrible wife.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've pushed family up much higher now that all that deal stuff's over. But this need to be productive is deep in me, and we won't go there too deep. But it's a result of my childhood and how we were raised, and I think I have a compulsion to be busy and productive, and if I'm not producing output, then I'm not contributing and it's a waste of time and I cannot sit still. I'm not very good at being idle. I remember finding a book, How to Be Idle, by this guy, Tom Hodgkinson, years and years ago. And I was like, what a novel idea.
Yeah.
Reading a book in a day?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Is it does it feel like a waste of time?
Yeah, it feels sinful.
Yeah. It's a weird feeling. I'm kind of similar, I
and
think.
yet I can sit and scroll for 45 minutes
Yeah,
and
so
that's a
what the
total
fuck?
waste of time.
I do that as well.
So I can waste time.
We must
Don't
be the
worry.
only 2 people who scroll for.
Might be a support group for just you and me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something about relationships. I feel like it could be couched as success, but I think it's also busyness as well. I wasn't a very busy person for a lot of my life. And it's really only since this podcast has become what it is and I've had kids at the same time, life's really ramped up. But I found myself seeing less of my friends, and when I do see them, I find it really hard to get out of my head of all the things that we've been doing at work and family and stuff. And because I've been having visual success, like people can see the success as opposed to someone who's just killing it at a job that no one gets to see how well they're doing. I feel like I'm not being as good a friend and I'm a little less present when I'm around them. And I'm really worried that they think it's because I think I'm becoming successful as opposed to the fact that I think I'm just busier and my mind's more in work and family stuff than it ever has been.
What do you mean? Like it's like that it could come across like you think you're now too successful to hang out with them? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, or like he's changing a bit. Like he's not what he used to be like.
I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
But haven't you changed? And is that bad?
Well, no. Well, yes, I have changed. And I feel like I'm the happiest and best version of myself I've ever been.
That's great.
Yeah. And I still want to be around my friends, but there's a nervousness in that change that it might be like, I think it comes to the tall poppy thing that you were saying, talking about before. Thinks he's pretty good now, like he's changed. And I'm wondering with someone who's had the sort of astronomical success that you've had over a long period of time, have you ever found that it's affected friendships, or how have you navigated friendships throughout that is probably a better way of saying it.
I have such a great group of friends. I hand on heart can say that that's not been my experience.
Oh, great.
When I moved from the country up to Sydney, I had no friends. I had a very lonely year. I took a gap year for no reason. No money, no travel plans, nothing. I just was sick of study. So I was like, I'm going to take a year off between now and uni. And that was a very humbling year. And that made me really need friends and want friends in Sydney. And it took me a while to build up those friendships. And then when I started working in women's magazines at Cosmo, I made an amazing group of female friends. And, so on, different circles of my life. But I still have those friends. So I have, 25-year friendships now, 20-year friendships from Sydney. Same girls, we do the same shit with the same people. So I feel like your friends, it might be in your head a little bit. It might be you projecting a little bit. And your friends are probably just love you just the same and happy for you.
It sounds like you've got friends that remind me of something that you said, Hugh, once about that there's this sort of traditional idea that good friends will be there when times are tough, but it's actually that real friends will be there when you're doing well and be able to celebrate your success as well, rather than it being a thing that
it's much easier for people to comfort you than be happy for you. Certainly. Again, that's not my experience with my friends, but I certainly can see that. But I have the best friends in the world, so
that's right.
Can't relate. Sorry, bro. Next question.
I want to. Hugh, you said that you relate to it. I want to know what
what's
you.
your?
No, I just have this constant fear when I'm hanging around with friends who are not in this world, because they're all doing great things and they're all being really successful, but it's not in a public forum. Because I'll do an interview with Zoë Foster Blake, so people want to know about that, and I'll meet someone. So people was asking me questions about my life because they've heard things, or they might, and I'm so uncomfortable with it. Because
You're a chronic deflector. I've seen it. You do. You ask so many questions. You're so kind and lovely as a conversationalist. You're so curious and interested, and it feels really genuine.
Yeah. I think. I think with my friends from school, for example, it's very much like I'm terrified of them thinking, oh, he thinks he's doing well, or he thinks I'm terrified of it.
Exactly that. Talking about, because an episode might have come out, so it's very visual, very audible, I guess, but they're like, oh, what was that like to meet that person? Then I find myself, because I'm really interested in what I do and interested in the people, and then I'm talking for about 5 minutes, I'm like, oh shit, shut up. You're just talking about yourself and you're not asking them enough questions, and feel this pressure to like over ask questions to try and make up for it not being about me. So, yeah.
That's a normal human condition. I think we all do it. And then I'll talk too much and then I go, I'm like, God, why did you just say so much? Well, you do talk about yourself. And I don't want to talk about myself. Like I don't know. I'm the same as you. I don't want to talk about my work all the time at all. I want to hear what's going on in their life. But yeah, it's a free hit because our shit's on Instagram.
Yeah.
So like it's.
It's funny when you get two people who are that way inclined or wired having a conversation. It's like a game of tennis, basically.
No tennis. I did.
What did you guys talk about? Nothing, actually.
No, it's kind of like tennis if the ball just hovered over the net the whole time. No one's actually taking any hits. It's just like, no, you say something. No, you say something. It's like this ball like hovering.
I'm so fascinated by all this stuff at the moment, and that's you know about introvert, extrovert, obviously, but there's highly skilled introverts and highly skilled extroverts and low skilled intros and low skilled extros. I'm a highly social skilled intro, so I can do this and I can be chatty and great and fun, but afterwards I'm like this, like I'm just cooked. And our worst nightmare for the highly social skilled intros is a low social skilled extro who just sits and talks at you and doesn't ask a question and goes on and on and on and on, and it just drains us because there's no A-B, that even if it's not a stimulating conversation, it's just a conversation.
Isn't it amazing how quickly you do not listen to a word that they're saying, even though it's just you and them.
Yeah.
And you just have to listen, but you can't.
No, it's an energetic flow that needs to be, both ways.
So hang on. So is it? So it's a highly social skilled introvert.
Yeah.
And then a low social skilled extrovert.
Well, then there's Hamish, who's a highly social skilled extrovert. So he's very extroverted, but he knows how to converse. He's not going to dominate. He can ask questions and he's very interested and so on.
So what does then a highly social skilled extrovert need?
And they can do anyone. They're fine.
So to speak.
They probably can.
Yeah. And a low social skilled introvert, well, you know what that's going to be.
Yes.
Not going to say a great deal.
I'm picturing with the tennis analogy, a low skill extrovert is like someone just a net just with a massive smash, just like
Oh,
hitting at
yeah.
the person.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
no
And they could hit it
rallying.
anywhere, but
Yeah.
they hit it right at them.
Oh, yeah.
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 But that's another good thing about getting older. You just understand why you're so zapped. Like, I get an introvert hangover the day after performing or doing a big shoot or a presentation to lots of people. And I never knew what that was, but it's just because I've given like triple for me. And the next day I'm just like, I'm nothing. But I find all these conversational dynamics really curious because it helps you understand people and the awareness now of ADHD and autism and all of these things that previously we just were like, why is that person, I had,
What have I done to make that person?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a different language that we're speaking here. I can't figure this out.
I was talking to Jam about this last night, and I should check with her before because I don't know where this information comes from. But she was telling me that she was, I don't know where she watched this or read it or whatever, but essentially a woman talking about how with a woman's cycle over a month, how they become they are sort of a different person at different times of the month, and we kind of know that. Like generally, of course, we know that, but I found it so interesting to think like, oh, of course, there's like 1 week when you're really like
I'm just like
I'm digging a hole.
I'm watching you going out on a limb here. And I'm
Go on.
just
get really
Do you want to know what week I'm in?
Yeah. So he's hovering over the cancel button.
We got 3 Homer Simpsons backing into a hedge.
Well, it's really just that awareness of like what people are like, whether it is ADHD or like having an awareness of where someone is at in their life or what their literally abilities are or what their brain is like.
Yeah.
I just found it interesting with like women in general, depending on where they are in the month, it's like they could be
in the luteal cycle.
Well, we wouldn't call them
Luteal.
loonies.
What is it?
Luteal.
Nearly.
Luteal, though. Pretty good because it is leading into menstruation. So we are a bit loony sometimes.
Not true.
But yeah.
Not true. Shit. All right, guys, I actually have to go.
Oh, sorry, he's tapped out. But yes, there are many, many factors
you,
as to
Zoe.
why
Thank you,
people
thank you.
have different moods at different times.
Yes, great. Good.
I love the way you describe the good conversation as like an energy, the energy flow back and forth, because a good one does feel it. You feel it. Or maybe that speaks to what I am. But a good one, I feel really energized by it
Yeah.
at
So
the
you
end
have a
of it.
coffee with a certain friend and you
Yeah.
walk away and you're like, I love you, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And you're like full of energy and dynamic. And then other times you'll be like, energy vampire.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel that intensely. I try to only be around people that make me bounce away from the conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, if possible.
Just for some reason, I'm thinking about you sleeping. Which sounds really...
Guys.
Hugh's got a real knack of digging graves for himself.
Okay. Yeah.
Quick, Hugh, say something else so you're not
Say
thinking
something
about that
normal.
anymore.
Do you remember once I said to you, can I watch you make that coffee? Because I was interested in knowing. And you went, yeah, you sicko.
Your intentions are pure, but you just ask if things wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what your relationship with sleep is like. This is so much better, especially at a time when you feel alone and you feel like you're up against it.
I'm probably not going to do myself any favours here. Big topic in the house is sleep hygiene. I care about sleep, and this started with the children when they came along and sleep dep, and you know how you. So we take sleep very seriously in our house because I'm an absolute witch if I don't get sleep, and my brain's no good and I can't do work and I can't be a nice person. So I prioritise it. I take CBD oil, and I think because I'm 44 and perimenopausal, I then went and got a blend of THC and CBD from the GP. Beautiful.
Really?
It really helps with
So
sleep.
is that like a drip?
It's a tincture, yeah. It's a little oil.
Huh.
Because I do get anxious at night as well, that cortisol starts peaking and my brain just starts going, oh my God. And so that I don't wake up and have thoughts, many thoughts, many things to think about and do, and like book week costumes and bloody children's birthday parties. And
What are you
dates.
dressing for as book week?
Fart.
Fart. Great.
I should. Yeah, so it helps me not have those wake ups. Doesn't always work.
So I don't know how that works. So you go to the doctor and the doctor says, and you say like, you're like,
I
give me
can't
some
sleep.
weed.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, he says he's a doctor, but it's just around the corner in a garage.
The doc.
The doc.
So they make a special for you, like
it's medicinal cannabis. So you have to then the GP puts in to the government or something, and then forms, and then you take it to a compound chemist and la la.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for anxiety, which I get more than ever now, and
more than
sleep.
ever now.
Oh yeah, since I had kids, I wasn't an anxious person.
Really?
Yes.
And kids has made you more anxious.
Oh yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I think the minute you don't sleep,
that's pretty obvious.
Well, no, but no. I understand how it's a stressful thing, of course. But I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel this is probably a wrong assumption. My assumption would be like, once you have a family, all of your perspectives have changed, and you're like, oh, actually, the things I was worried about before, they don't matter.
Yeah, but I've got two people who could die in my care.
Okay, so that's the anxiety.
It's
a gateway.
everything.
I mean, kids are a gateway.
Totally.
They open up the door to every other thing that's happening in the world.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
And you see it and feel it times 1,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything means more. Everything's more precious and valuable.
I never used to feel guilty, but I feel guilty all the time.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah. Just about even like things that are not, it's like guilt entered my life. And then like I can't even, like if I go to a 40th on the weekend and have a few drinks, and then I was a bit hungover the next day. I felt so guilty that I wasn't like a 100% present parent for those. And it came down to the thing you're talking about with time before as well. Of like, I've only got a few years with these kids, and you're wasting a morning when they're in a good space and you're just not there. You're in it, and it's just like,
what a beautiful dad you are, though. But what a great mindset to go, okay, I'm not doing the best job today. You always get the next day. And that's what we always tell ourselves. Oh, we fucked it today, but we'll start again tomorrow, and you get that clean slate. But what an amazing generation of parenting. That's what astounds me, is how mindful we are and how like we're really trying to correct from previous generations and to be really present and to be really aware of how fleeting it all is. So I love that. I think that's don't be so hard on yourself, but also, you get to start again tomorrow, and we all have shit days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm doing my best, but I've talked to my wife Sophie about this. There's going to be some way that we stuff them up.
Of course.
And I wonder what that's going to be.
It's exciting.
That's good to see how I mess up my kids.
Oh yeah.
One day.
They'll be like, all you did was read parenting manuals. You abandoned us.
I always thought life would get easier the older you got. I always so firmly believe that. How do you feel about that? Because to me, it's the opposite. I feel like it gets harder the older I get.
I think it's so circumstantial, and even stage and age of life. Like your age, you could be coping better, but your stage is very difficult because you've been dealt some cards that are making it complicated. I think as a woman, and my lived experience I can only speak of, which is to say that as I get older, I feel a lot more confident in myself, and I trust myself a lot more. As a young woman, I felt very unsure of everything, and I wouldn't go back there for anything. So it's easy for me in terms of like what's a yes and what's a no. And hard no's to almost everything. Like just don't waste my time, because my time is very important with my family or with my good work. Do good work. Yeah. I see a lot of people who are a little bit older than me, and it's going to get harder because they've got aging parents and complicated teens, and then throw in menopause or something. So I'm buckling up because I know that, there's going to be, it's coming. Like, So I feel like we're in a bit of a sweet spot now with the age of our kids and the stage of our lives. We're very lucky, very privileged. We're very aware of that. And I think I feel more confident doing what I do than I ever have before. I feel confident.
That's a lovely answer. So you mentioned perimenopause just then. We had Dr. Louise Newson on the podcast a little while ago. Yeah. Interested to hear about your version of, or your experience of, or your understanding of.
Yeah, and this is nothing I really talked about, but I mean, it's very real. And I love that the awareness of women's health in particular, overarchingly, but particularly menopause and perimenopause is coming through a lot more now, and that I happen to be beneficiary of that because I'm in the age of, in my 40s. I think I follow some incredible doctors online. That's where I'm getting the wealth of my information and a couple of books. But I think I have these endless conversations with like the school mums or friends, and they're talking to me about their anxiety or their lack of sleep or many concerns. And I'm like, babe, you're 45. This is perimenopause. And the amount of us who still don't really know what it is or that it's real. And then the challenges of actually getting diagnosis, which is not maybe the right word, but the kind of clinicals that give you the proof, because we gaslight ourselves, women. We do it all the time. We're like, oh, I can't sleep because I'm anxious because of work, or my periods are all out of whack because I went on a trip and it ruined it, or we'll make up all kinds of excuses to ourselves instead of actually just going, oh, my body is changing because I'm in my 40s. So I have really gone deep on it lately and have taken the steps to try with a naturopath and with food and with exercise and the tinctures I was talking about to get my shit together. I don't drink hardly anything anymore because I was finding that like one drink would give me a hangover and I couldn't sleep, and so all of these annoying things happen. I love cocktails, but I just can't do it. It's just like you were saying, like I'm not going to write off a day for 45 minutes of a drink.
Yeah.
No, not going to happen. So yeah, you have to get your shit together and work it out. But I have a really great GP, and I think that's a really important thing. Find a good GP, a good female GP. I got my bloods done. It was clear as day. And then I went and saw a reproductive endocrinologist. Went like, fuck it, I'm going to work this out. And yeah, 100%. So I'm
100%.
Oh, perimenopause, so my estrogen through the floor. But I liked that. I'm the kind of person who needs proof because then I could go and work out what I needed to be.
You're one of those science fanatics.
You know it.
I don't get it. I'm not on board, but okay.
Show me the proof.
Yeah.
So that allowed me to then go forward and treat it better. But yeah, I think in the coming, even 5 to 10 years, or definitely 5 years, there'll be a huge wealth of information, awareness. Australia's behind America, and getting women heard and helped and seen to, because we all think we're crazy. We don't know what the fuck's going on. We get sweats. We can't sleep. We're anxious. We are living in a cortisol state all the time. Our body's changing. Things that we used to do before would not work anymore. Like you could do the exact same workout that used to work for you. Eat the same way. It's not. It doesn't work anymore.
It's so confusing.
It is so confusing, and hormones are so complicated. But they are the lords of your body, and insulin and all these things come to play. So women are doing their research, but I think, the medical system needs to put that a little bit more in the spotlight.
It seems
for
like
sure.
you still have to really go out of your way to find the.
You had to play hormone detective essentially.
That's a book.
I did, yeah. But there are some great books out there now, and if you find the right people to follow and listen to, and even like when you see Huberman and he's got these menopause and perimenopause specialists on there, you're like, okay, finally, like this awareness is coming through, because I hate feeling crazy, and then I tell myself it's just normal, and it's not normal to feel crazy all the time.
Nope.
It's a real thing. It's a real mental health thing.
And the gaslighting kind of makes sense from a historical point of view, like, because I feel like women as a part of the human race have kind of been gaslit about their bodies for hundreds of years, or thousands of years probably, but certainly in modern medicine it didn't get any better.
Oh, look at endometriosis. Like that's only recently come to actually being believed and diagnosed properly. I have a dear friend who got told by 3 different doctors, it's just bad period pain. And she was unable to function for 2 days of a month and had to be in the dark and was vomiting and finally got the right person and had the surgery and is feeling on top of the world. But she was in her late 40s before she did that. And so we're told so much of our cycle and so much of what's happening to us is just part of being a woman. And fuck
Accept
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah, no, don't accept that. Go get some help.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty non sequitur question here. It's about
Nike or Reebok?
It's deep. It's real deep. You've used the phrase good work quite a few times. Who decides what's good?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I think I have to like it first, don't I? I think it's that permission to be, selfish or narcissistic's not the right word, but permission to love your work before you put it out there. And that's another sort of success meter for me. It's like, oh, you're not going to please everybody with everything. There's plenty of haters out there. I love what Seth Godin says. He goes, though, if you're trying to appeal to everybody, though, by definition, you become average. You're putting out average work because you're trying to appeal to the average person. So you have to be safe with going, I have my very loyal and dedicated fans and I'm doing it for them because I hope they like it. But your first fan, in my mind, it has to be me.
Yeah.
Because if I don't like it, it's not going anywhere.
You mentioned before anxiety, especially at night time. I'm imagining sort of lying in bed awake, which is certainly how it presents for me.
Yes.
You can't both be imagining her sleeping.
We're brothers. I mean, it's
normal.
It's in the DNA, that's true.
Normal.
When those thoughts are coming through, and you don't have to go here if you don't want to, but I'm curious to know what kind of thoughts are they, and in that moment, are you able to sort of access some kindness, or how do you get through it to the point of sleeping?
So I can fall asleep fine, and then I think like so many, I have to go to the toilet or something, and then I'm awake.
Yeah.
And I have this moment. It's very real and terrifying. But I have this fucking part of my brain that goes, "What if you didn't go back to sleep? What if you didn't go back to sleep? That would be bad, wouldn't it?" It's like a little cartoon character in my head. This happens when I've got a huge day the next day, like an early flight, a big day, a live event, something I'm nervous about. The worst one was when I had Vogue tour through my house and I had to speak and go through every single room and point out everything and every piece of art and everything. I woke up at 2 a.m. and I did not go back to sleep and I was shattered and I had to be amazing. So my brain's like, what if you didn't go back to sleep? That would be bad, wouldn't it? And I'm like, oh my God, tonight.
Not you again. Fuck off.
I try that. And the crux of it is like, you'll do a bad job, won't you? Like if you don't get sleep, you'll do a bad job.
I won't do good work.
Yeah. And I go, intellectual me is like, you idiot, you've done hard things on 2 hours sleep before, you'll be fine. You always get through. You're professional, you show up, you do the job, you'll be fine. But that little thing is always like, yeah, but what if you didn't? You know, bad, wouldn't it? Oh, you're going to feel so bad if you don't sleep. It would be annoying, wouldn't it? And it's like fucking with me. So I've tried to invite it in and say, come on, you know, I'm not scared of you. You're just trying to mess with me. It's fine. We'll just go back to sleep. But on really bad nights, I've got like, I have to put meditation on or a yoga nidra but yeah, if I really can't sleep like it's an hour, then I start to get really worked up. And then the adrenaline means I can't sleep even more. We've all been there.
It's so stressful.
Self-fulfilling. Yeah.
Awful feeling. And it doesn't, I haven't solved it. So I'm not here with recommendations.
Damn it.
All I can do is try and be kind to myself, but I get so worked up.
Yeah.
It is a bit of advice that I think we got told once by someone, which is like make friends with the anxiety.
Yeah.
And
invite it in. It's not a threat.
Except that it's got your best interests at heart, even though it doesn't sound like it. It's like preparing you for the worst case scenario. Yeah. But even then, it's like, not now.
The character in my book has it a lot because it's, you know, some parts of my life. So we do the box breathing, we do all of the things we've learned. One thing that does help sometimes is there's a question I learned, which is, what's my next thought going to be? And if you ask yourself that, it starts.
Oh, what's your next thought?
What's my next going to be?
Because you
can't
do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
And you get a little reprieve. And so
it's good.
If you keep just asking yourself that, you might fall back asleep.
What a hack. That's is amazing. Really meta.
Here's another one though. I saw Michael Phelps say this the other day. He said, you got to go through a doorway. You know how sometimes you walk through a doorway and you forget what you're looking for or what you were doing? Apparently it's a doorway method where your brain recollaborates when you go through a doorway. So he's like, if I can't sleep, I go through a doorway. I'm probably spouting the wrong shit here. But he goes through a doorway because it's sort of a reset. I also heard that you shouldn't stay there and lie in bed because you don't stay at the dinner table when you're not hungry. You only come to eat. So you only be in bed when you're about to sleep. Get up, read a book, do something low light.
Gotcha.
You know, all these things. But I just like to lie there and get really angry.
Yeah.
That's my preferred coping technique.
I have done that before too. It's not fun.
It's not fun.
Yeah, it's tempting.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
You know Kermit the Frog?
Not personally,
good
but
friends, yeah.
When you said, what is your next thought? I had a thought and it was him just strolling past the door looking at me, just waiting.
How many mushrooms
like-
did you take before you
just
did this?
really, really casually, just like
Yeah.
almost bounce past going.
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty, like,
Yeah.
That's my.
He's
like,
excited because he's turning 12 next week. So.
almost definitely won't be in the final episode, but that's just the next thought that I had.
That's a great. I love that. What's the next thought going to be?
what's the
Impossible.
next going to be?
Not for me.
That's so cool.
You might be the only
Not for
one
me.
who had a thought, Hugh.
Hello.
Very friendly comment, but anyway. Well, Zoe, that was wonderful. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
it's my pleasure.
The book is out tomorrow.
October 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. We don't need good luck. It's a beautiful book, and
And it's not luck.
Thank you. Well, I'll take the good luck. I'll take it. Yeah. Give me it. Give me all your luck.
I haven't got much on me. I've got like 15 luck. There you go. My pleasure.
Thanks very much for having me. And I didn't even cry. I sucked in.
Hang on. Don't
Oh,
wrap
God.
it up yet.
Okay. Let's go back to this one. What was your biggest fear?
Okay, your upbringing, parents. Let's
Go deep, quick. Tears.
Okay, yes, Zoe. It's just it feels so. Whenever we have friends on, it feels like so formal and weird. But it's so nice that you're here.
Oh,
It means
it's
a lot.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Zoe.